Okay, so today has been an emotional day, and what I did not need was another emotional show. I just felt like for some reason Monday was the day that I'm just supposed to cry because I woke up to Raji P. Henson getting her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and her speech was just so beautiful, and I was just really happy for her. You know what I mean? She's worked really hard, and she's somebody that I can see myself in, you know what I mean? And then I watched, finally watched the live taping of Rent, and that had me bawling. And then I'm watching this episode and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was just destined for me to cry today. Monday has been that day, girl. Anyway, this episode was juicy. It had a lot of ins and outs. It had some fun moments, some really serious moments, some messy shade and drama, all by way of my beautiful Demi, same thing, but it was good. It gave me a lot, so I want to talk about it. Let's get into it. So Chris Harrison, the king of messy, knew exactly what he was doing when he called Hannah B. Caitlin, or Caitlin. See, I call her Miss North Kakalaki so much, I done forgot her name. But he knew what he was doing because did you see her response? She was like, oh, well, my name is Hannah. This girl is such good TV. She is so cuckoo for cocoa. Okay, so can we talk about Singapore? Because when it was announced to the ladies that they were going to Singapore, I screamed too, like I was in the damn room. Okay, I was like, Singapore? Oh, we got some money this season. Singapore is like top of the list for me for just, traveling outside of the country. Like some of my favorite designers are based in Singapore. Some of just, the architecture there, the hotels there, the spas, the luxury spas, the food. I have so many places like tagged in my travel map that are all located in Singapore. And baby, when I get a good coin, which is soon and very soon, I'm going to Singapore and I'm doing what? Treating myself because I deserve. Cheers to that. And let's talk about these video chats. I see we're trying something new. We don't have to bring this back, Mike. It's just like, what are we doing? We don't need it. We don't need, and I think that they're trying to do like this thing to like bring people in and make it, oh, they're doing their own little video on the phone, so it's more intimate. It's not. I mean, we're just looking up at Colton's nostrils and like his jaw is already big, so we make it even bigger from that angle. I'm good. We can stick with the HD cameras. I'm good. Shout out to all the black women who watch me because let me tell you something. Y'all hit me up on Instagram, on Twitter. Y'all were DMing me and finding me. Y'all was like, girl, have you watched this episode yet? The sisters wanted to make sure I watched this episode. And I'm like, well, what happened tonight? Like, what in the hell is going on? And then I watch it and our girl, Tayshia. Tayshia. I'm telling you, I know what her name is, but I just want to say Tayshia. It's the way it's spelled. The name, can we be real? The name is very, black kids born in the 90s. Okay, I ain't gonna say all black kids in the 90s, our names. I don't know how I got out of the 90s with the name Nicole. I don't know how I got out the 90s with that. Because all black kids, 80s and 90s, I think it was because of the Black Power movement. We just, our names, they spelled a certain way, baby. And every time I see her name, I'm like, girl, Tayshia. But I'm going to go with Tayshia for the show. I see you, sis. So anyway, she gets the first Singapore one-on-one with Colton, and it was a good date. Guys, I don't think ever in Bachelorette history too, has there ever been a date that I was like, oh, I would love to do this? This season, all of the dates, I'm like, this would be amazing. Like, I physically would want to do something like this with a guy that I'm interested in. This was a beautiful date. It really, really was, after we got past that crazy stuff in the beginning. But I still thought that was very fun. It took her out of her comfort zone. It took the both of them out of their comfort zone, and they really conquered something that was ridiculous, but it was something. It was a conversation starter, you know what I mean? So I was here for the date, but I was just like, Colton, you know what? Listen, we are all humans, right? Culture separates us. So because when I was watching this date, I was like, okay, Colton took a black woman bungee jumping and to the beach. Excuse me, on our first date, you got me jumping off of some huge cliff or whatever the hell this is And then you got me getting my hair wet in salt water? Really? I was like, oh, this must be your first time at the Essence Festival, honey, because we don't do this, okay? One thing my people don't do is, one, test God. We're not jumping out of nothing. We stay with gravity. If God don't want me jumping out of a building, I'm good. I'm going to stay on land, okay? And the second thing, especially a black woman, we just met you. This is our first date. You are not yet ready to see my hair change textures and positions, okay? Because that's what happens. When water get on our hair, whatever the state our hair feels like being in is what it's going to be in. And we don't want to test that either. So when she got her hair wet, I was like, girl, are you sure about him? Because that hair about to switch up, but she got that blow dryer. She brought that blow dryer and she brought her hair straightener, because by the time they got to the dinner, she was back. I said, okay, sister never leave home without her tools. And although I would never in my life bungee jump, not even for a man, not even for a fine man, okay? For a check? No, not even for a check. I had to think a minute. Not even for a check. But I will say this, I was concerned about Colton. I really was. I was like, this is a massive man. And I don't know if you know Singaporeans. The people of Singapore have ever hooked up such a huge guy to that machine. And I was very concerned because he thick. He tall and thick. Y'all know what I like. I love me a Paul Bunyan. Ooh, child. Tall and rock. Woo. Things are happening. Anyway, I was just really concerned. I was just like, is he gonna be okay? I mean, obviously he was, but I was just like very nervous. I was just like, dude, if I was that size, I wouldn't do anything like that. But you know, can we be real? He's Caucasian. It's what y'all do. It's what y'all do. And then we get to the part of the date that starts to make sense for me. You know, the dinner was really, really beautiful. I love the conversation that they were having. They were getting really close. I love the fact that Tayshia. I love the fact that Tay, we're just gonna call him Tay, because I'm never gonna get it right. I love the fact that Tay really opened up to him and was just like, listen, I was married before, you know, it didn't work out. But this is the thing, what I told you about in the beginning, what I didn't want his virginity to be such a huge storyline. Because she's saying, oh, I was divorced, and you know, as a Christian woman, you think when you get married, it'll be forever. And I'm not saying that this isn't her beliefs, but I feel like she brought this up, or she talked about her divorce in that kind of way to make herself seem pure. You know what I mean? Like, he was my first boyfriend, you know, basically like, this is my first everything, the first guy I've ever done anything with, and I ended up marrying him and it didn't work out. And as a Christian woman, I thought it would be. I'm not saying that anything's wrong with that. I'm not saying that there are not women who are like that. My problem with the virginity talk was that I felt like women were going to start measuring themselves a certain way. And I think it's happening on the show, because if Colton wasn't a virgin, I think Tay would have been on the date and just been like, you know, I got divorced or whatever. And I thought it would work out, you know, I thought we'd be together forever, but it didn't. But I feel like me and you are getting a connection, and I wanted to express that to you so that that's not something that you find out later. It wouldn't have been this whole conversation of, he was my first boyfriend, my first everything. And, you know, as a Christian woman, I don't know, guys, what do you think? That's what I feel like is happening here. And the reason why I didn't want that to happen is because that path is not the same for women. Like, Colton can get off being very, you know, commendable for being a virgin, because purity is different or the idea of purity is different for men than it is for women. Like, women have to feel shame for having more than one partner, but Colton, or men like him in this society, is, you know, oh my gosh, how awesome of you. You're getting coochie thrown at you every day and you're turning it down to be a better man. Wow, but it's not the same for women. So I just didn't want that to be the storyline through this show, but it is, and it's happening, and I don't like it, because we're starting to get this idea of good women and bad women. And we're trying so hard to get away from that, to have such a huge show put that into the forefront again. It's like, ugh. We've come so far to go so far back. This was a good date. This was a really good, fun date. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed their chemistry. I still think that I feel like he likes Tay Tay for the long run. I think he likes Katie for the fantasy suite because their dates are so different. And Katie is the only one that I've ever seen him be like that with. Like even when he was making out with Skipper, I didn't feel that same kind of attraction. You know what I mean? It felt, we'll get to that, but it felt very incestuous. We'll talk about that later. Hannah B, I hope she sticks around. She's comic relief. I'm sorry, the girl is funny. She is funny even when she is not trying to be, because the whole show, I can't believe it. I can't, like, I don't want him to think, I don't want him to think that I don't like him like I do. I don't want him to think that I'm not okay. I do. Just girl. It's all in your head. Whoever watched Love After Lockup, you know what I'm doing. But she's like in her head so much, but she's just so comical about the way that she goes about things, because she's going nuts over thinking about things about Miss North Kakalaki and Colton, but none of it is ever manifested, but she is like building up so much drama in her head. Then we cut to her in the confessional with this huge glass of wine, her eyes rolling back. I like her. She has to stay on. I don't think that Colton is in any way attracted to her, but I think that just like Anye, she is a producer pick and she is going to stay for a while. I think the women that Colton is not interested in, but our producer picks are Anye, Hannah B, and Demi. I don't see any sparks with them, but I think the only spark that they have is creating drama or, you know, just being something fun to watch in the midst of these women actually finding something with Colton. They're not going to have anything with him. They're literally there to entertain us, and I'm okay with that. Oh, and can we talk about how she called Miss North Kakalaki a leech? That was a good read. I cackled. I thought I left the leech back there, but apparently I brought it back with me. Shade. I love it. Keep it up, Hannah. Keep it up. Speaking of Hannah, even though I know that she's good TV, because she's in her head a lot and sometimes not the best judge of a situation, like she looks far too deeply into things and she just overanalyzes everything until she becomes angry or obsessed about fixing something that doesn't need to be fixed because there's really nothing going on. I can only imagine what kind of roommate she was to Miss North Kakalaki, who was doing well in the pageant. You know what I mean? Probably after every win, she would just, you know, pull on her and get in her head, or probably sit down and have these confusing conversations with her that she's having with Colton. And I was just like, you know what? For somebody who is competing in a competition and you're dealing with somebody like that as your roommate, that is a lot of stress. That is a lot to take on. So I could understand her hesitation of wanting to get next to her or close to her in this situation because she knows what the girl is like in pageants. Nobody here expected Hannah B to turn out that way, but Miss North Kakalaki saw it from afar and stayed the hell away. Now let's talk about Courtney, who got on my nerves. I was so ready for her to go within the first 5 minutes because listen, Demi is messy. She's on this show because she's messy. She's an actress, okay? She's trying to make it out here in Hollywood. So producers knew that she was going to do whatever needed to be done, right? She's hired help, okay? Let's tell the truth and shame the devil here. But Courtney, you are annoying. I don't necessarily agree with everything that Demi is doing, but I know that she's doing it to create good content for the show, right? That doesn't mean that I stand by all of her comments. I didn't like the comments that she made about Tracy and Elise, especially her comments to Tracy saying, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes being a cougar or whatever, like really playing on her weaknesses. I didn't like that, right? And then I didn't like when she was, you know, running back and telling Colton that Courtney attacked her, because Courtney is a lot. Courtney is annoying. Courtney was being petty and passive aggressive and classist. She never attacked you though, Demi. And I didn't like that because to use the words attack, you're making a really strong choice and you better be really careful about your words because you can implicate people in certain things and have people have a certain idea of somebody, especially somebody already dealing with a certain stereotype. Not Courtney. But, you know, with meeting her, that stereotype goes away. But, you know, looking at her and somebody makes a comment about that, you would just think, here comes this aggressive Black woman, right? So you shouldn't make comments like that. However, Courtney needed to go. She was in her head just like Hannah B, right? But instead of making it something watchable, she was so draining. She was so draining. Like all of the girls, these women are competing with you and they're encouraging you to go and talk to a guy that they're competing for his attention, but they're encouraging you to take some time away from them so that you can go see them because you are getting on everybody's nerves. She sits there and she complains about everything happening, everybody going up to see him, not being able to spend time with him, going all kinds of crazy and sitting there and draining the girls and never taking that moment to shut up and go talk to Colton. Unless she can say on After the Final Rose that the producers kept her away from him, there's nothing else that would make sense as to why she still has yet to get up and go talk to the guy. She talked to the guy right before the rose ceremony when you've had, what, 3 weeks, girl, to sit down with him and have moments? Why are the other women forcing you to go speak to him? Why is Demi, who you are ragging on, encouraging you to go speak to him? Even when she was being nasty to Demi, Demi was still just like, you know what? Why don't you go talk to him? I think you're just being very hard on yourself and you're in your head, but I know that you have it in you. Like, I know that you're an interesting person. Why don't you go talk to Colton? She wouldn't even do that then. You know what she did? Instead of getting up and talking to Colton, she went and talked to Demi. Girl, what? And then had the audacity to be nasty to her and get mad at her because Demi went to go talk to Colton a second time. You haven't even talked to him once. That's on you. And I hated the way she talked to Demi. I didn't like, I don't like that. Especially when people think they come from a certain class or a certain education level. They're well-traveled, they've went to these schools, and they feel like they can talk to people who are beneath them because they don't have that accent or they don't have that pedigree. They feel like, oh, I can, you wouldn't know any better. Oh, how old are you again? Oh, you don't act like it. Oh, because the maturity just isn't there. And then she would do this thing where she would put her head in her hand and be like, oh, yeah, really well, because I'm a classy woman. I hate that. I hated that. And I give props to Demi for sitting there and taking that because it wouldn't have been me. See, Courtney did that with somebody who she thought that she could do that too, because let me tell you something, honey. I would have took that wig off of her head and me and her would have been rolling over that one little rose that was waiting to get picked up because, sweetie, you're not going to talk to me like that. She was so nasty for no reason. No reason. I didn't see her and Demi get into it before Courtney approached her. So they had no beef. Your problem is that she's going to talk to Colton. Who are you here for then? Who are you here to talk to? Who are you here to meet? What are you doing, Courtney? Her and Tracy got on my nerves, and we'll get to it at the end. But honey, I don't think none of us were sad to see him go. Yeah, I'm classy and you're not. I hate that. Please. Do not do that classy stuff because, baby, I might have a Philadelphia accent, okay? I might not have, all the money in the world and have traveled to all these places and have all these luxuries, but you can't hold the candle to me, period. Don't even try it, okay? Don't let this slang fool you. And then Demi gets the rose and Courtney breaks down. And I'm just like, Courtney, what are you doing? Like, Demi wasn't even in her meeting with Colton talking about her. She was in there opening up about something really, really difficult. You know how hard it is to not only on national TV, but to a dude that you're interested in, reveal that your mother just got out of federal prison? As soon as you say federal prison, people's minds are rolling. If you say jail, people are just like, oh my goodness, what, a traffic violation? Like, what did they do? When you hear federal prison, you're thinking, I don't know, assassin, Ponzi schemes. Like, you're thinking some real tough crimes, okay? So for her to even be vulnerable with Colton in that moment and express that was huge. And then to come out and be harassed by some chick that ain't even putting in half the work that you putting in, child. But Demi, you was petty holding that rose in that girl's face. When Colton gave Demi that rose, I really thought that Courtney was going to pull her wig off and be like, just send me home, because she leaned back and she did like this. And I was like, she about to take her wig off and leave the show. That's exactly what I thought was going on. Could you imagine? Could you imagine an upset contestant just goes, you know what? I don't need this show or you anymore, and just walk off? Ratings, gold. You know what? Since we're here, Anya didn't get much time this episode, but her wig was in every scene. That wig, I'm like, sis, you got to change the unit. You got to change it. Because I think they've been here like 4 weeks now. That thing is drying up. Parts of it is shiny. Parts of it is like dry and crusty. I'm like, sis, I really hope you did not come to this show with one wig. One wig? Girl, got to do better in 2019, ladies. Got to do better. Who in the hell is this Bachelor going to be? The next one. We got to get, I'm telling you, we got to get some fly chicks. We got some nice, good girls this show, right? I need some bras on there that got fashions. I need fashions, hair, makeup, everything to be on point. We got to step it up. We have to step it up. Please, casting for The Bachelor, holla at your girl. Not to be on it, to help y'all with casting. Y'all need it. We got some good little cookie cutter girls this season. Next season, I want some bad chicks. I want some chicks getting out there, getting out the limo with some Louis. You know what I mean? I want them getting out with some Gucci shades. Like, who am I here to meet? Hello, I'm the wife. See you inside. Like, I need something. We got to come stronger next season. This is good. I ain't complaining. But next season, bad chicks only. So Miss North Kakalaki gets a one-on-one date, and Hannah almost killed everybody in the room. She was just sitting there. She was looking. And you know how when Hannah's pissed and she wants to make it look like she's okay, she does this thing where both of her like teeth, all of her teeth like touch, and she's good TV. So anyway, she gets a one-on-one date, and I'm telling you, the dates just get better and better. This was a beautiful date. A whole shopping spree in Singapore. Singapore's fashions, first of all, their fashion week is like nothing you could ever fathom happening in America. It's like on such a different level. I was like, girl, at that point, I would tell Colton after the date, if he took me on something like that, I'd be like, listen, any dude, I'm like, listen, so when we getting married, like you can't take me on a date like this and then send me packing. Well, when are we getting married? Am I getting pregnant tonight? Like what's happening? Because that date, top notch. Now let's talk about Miss North Kakalaki opening up about being sexually assaulted. First of all, I wasn't ready. You know, they were sharing previews. I thought it was going to be something about Colton. I didn't know that it was going to be like something so deep, like to share something like that. I'm like, girl, are you really having feelings for him like this deep? Because this is something that one, she didn't have to share with the world. You know what I mean? And two, something that you share when you are at that level that you feel like, I need to tell you about myself. So if things come up that you don't understand, this is why. That's like next level relationship talk. You know what I mean? And I'm like, are you there with him? Because I felt like it was too soon to be like so closely connected. But then again, we're only seeing a part of their time. We're not seeing the whole thing. But I did know that some people had a problem with her expressing that and saying this shouldn't be on TV. I disagree. That happens to men and women. Men and women are sexually assaulted. Men and women are raped from, very young to very old. Like this happens. And I don't think victims should be ashamed to talk about their truth. Somebody really terrible harmed them. If I have a platform to speak on it, I will. And we have no idea how many women and men who watch this probably got set free by that. All it takes is somebody standing up, sharing their truth, and in a place and using a platform that others would never do it. And it's just like, wow, she was able to do that. I can do it too. That's all it does. For some people, you just need to see somebody else do it. And then you get that encouragement to take that leap. And so I didn't have a problem with it as well. I wasn't expecting it, but I commend her for it. I think she did a great thing. Not only as, somebody on this show that has such a huge following, also as being a pageant queen. You know what I mean? With that crown, I guarantee you that she has to speak to young girls. This is something she could talk about if she hasn't talked about it already. I'm not going to say I enjoyed it. I thought it was smart. I thought it was very big of her, and I was very thankful that she opened up like that, because I don't know, I just saw it all as a positive. Even though it came from pain, it made me look at not only this show, but her in a different way. You know what I mean? And not like I think more highly of her, but I realized that this process is very vulnerable to her and that she's really fallen for this dude. So now I'm really concerned. You know, I don't think anybody told her to say that, because you know how much trouble a show can get into? Like if she ever reveals, oh, they forced me to talk about the time I was sexually assaulted, that's a huge lawsuit. I just think that she felt like she was at a place, and she even said it, I want you to know what's going on with me if I'm not okay at some moments. And I was like, oh girl, are you here with Colton? Because I think you're cute, but I'm not there yet. But whew, all right, girl, thanks for opening up. This is going to get interesting, because now hearts are getting involved. Now these girls are at the stage where they're falling for him. Ciao. The drama is coming. But Miss North Kakalaki, that was very huge of you to share. And I, as not only the Bachelor Whisperer, but, you know, a cousin in Bachelor Nation, thank you for doing that. I think only good can come from you getting yourself free, girl. Because in that, you freed other people. So shout out to you, sis. Wait, before I move on, I forgot to talk about this dude. The designer who was trying to sell Colton that dress. He was like, oh, Miss Jennifer Lopez, she has nothing on you, girl. I mean, everything she put on, he was trying to get her to buy it. I said he wants them to run up that ABC credit card. Like, he saw money when the producers walked in, and he was like, oh, I'm going to sell my dresses today. He had Hannah trying on yes, I did call her Hannah. Child, I'm getting messy like Chris Harrison. He had Miss North Kakalaki trying on every outfit, because baby, he was going to get a sale that day. Speaking of mess and shade, Miss North Kakalaki, after this beautiful date with Colton, she goes back to the hotel or the suite that all the girls are staying in with all these bags. I hate this because it's so shady. It's so intentionally shady to get the women fighting and being depressed and sad that they're not making the same strides with Colton. It's always the girl who's the number one chick that he may or may not be choosing, who walks in with all of the bags, and she always gets that pamper date. And this was a pamper date. Show up to me in a nice suit in a Bentley. You got me from the start. Take me on a shopping spree in Singapore. Hello, here's my wound. Do what you want with it. Like, yes, this is marriage material for me. And for him to do that, that made me believe he was thinking very seriously about her, to the point where he even opened up to her about Ali. That's what he was talking about. His girlfriend who experienced sexual assault, and how he did not feel comfortable making any kind of sexual move towards her. Although he was in love with her, he wanted to wait for her to be ready, and he didn't feel comfortable doing anything like that because she was really struggling and going through that really terrible time. And I was just like, wow, I get it. I get it. Like, I don't think he's lying about being a virgin. I don't think he's closeted. Ain't my business if he is. I think that he is just a guy who moves at the beat of his own drum. And that's attractive. To me, it is. So I said all that to say, Miss North Kakalaki is like a top 3 pick at this point, because the both of them, her and Colton, are making great strides in their relationship, to the point where I was just like, do we need to go on any more dates? Like, do we need to see him go out with other women? Like, I feel like we found the wife. Is the show over? That was it for me. How did you guys feel about that? Because after that date, I was just like, you guys got to get married. Like, this is it. Like, this is the couple. Why are we wasting our time? Even though I thought Tay Tay had a nice date, especially at the end where he had her in like that, they were making out in that neon light carousel, whatever that was. Sexy, sexy. But then this Miss North Kakalaki date, I was like, ooh, it's going to be hard to top this. Not just in how beautiful it was, but also it was just, they were so intimate, guys, on a different level. When I said that, I just thought about his connection with Katie, but his connection with Katie is physical. His connection with Miss North Kakalaki is emotional. He needs to find somebody in the middle, and I don't know who that will be. It definitely ain't Demi. Does Tay Tay have both of those qualities? Or Skipper? No. Casey? I think she got it. Guys, that may be the one that he picks, because I think that he is physically attracted to her. And I also think that we'll see later in the season, their relationship grow to get to an emotional part. That brother and sister fortune, though, they kind of deaded their relationship, but they got it back. Even though they were uncomfortable making out because of what they had just heard, they were still able to go to a, you know, they were able to get there. They were able to get there. Maybe she's the one. Because I always thought that he was going to pick Skipper, but when they made out on that bed, it was very awkward. It's just like, this looked like brother and sister doing something very naughty while all the family is asleep for Christmas vacation. It just, she was trying, like, I don't know. They were like rustling around in that bed, and it got to a point where I was just like, is this the day that he loses his virginity? Like, what is going on here? But it still felt very uncomfortable. It wasn't, I don't know. How did you guys feel about that? I was watching that and I was just like, something not right. Something not right here. I don't know. Maybe it's because she looks very childlike and he's very big. I don't know what it was. But this whole makeout session of him like grabbing her, you know, her non-existent thigh. And I don't know, guys. It was just like, cut. I just realized why all the sisters hit me up. Because look, y'all. Representation matters, okay? Because I was just looking at a picture of the date with Colton and Tay Tay, and I was just like, you know what? I bet you every black girl watching this is seeing themselves on a date with Colton. You know what I mean? Because I did it too. I was just like, what would I look like in that red bathing suit with my natural hair on the beach laid up with him in Singapore? You all do it. You all do it. That's why y'all was hitting me up. Y'all, we was all on dates with Colton on the beach in Singapore. So we get to the rose ceremony, and at the end, Tracy and Courtney are cut, and it needed to happen. Tracy and Courtney were there for the women. They were not there for Colton because they did not spend their time going after him. They spent their time going after women who were going after Colton. It was the weirdest thing. I do like Demi, but she was being so petty, and too petty to the point where I was just like, there's no way that Colton doesn't see this. Because she's like holding up her rose in her mouth right next to Courtney. When Courtney is cut, she like, you know, gives a little victory, you know, shimmy, and she does something with her face. She makes a toast that if you're not a dummy, you know that she was making it about getting Courtney out. So I'm like, girl, don't play your hand too quick, because he gonna see everything and he gonna get you out. Stay as long as you can, get as much camera time as you can, but if you get too sloppy, you gonna go quicker than you expected. Stay woke, sis. Stay woke. I'm here for you. I'm here for you, but I need you to be wise. You moving too quick. Slow down. Slow down. Anyway, that's where the episode ends. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a well-rounded episode. There was some laughs, there was some shade, there was some drama. It was really, really good. I enjoyed it. What did you guys think about this episode? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you like what you see here, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you next week for the following episode of The Bachelorette. Yep, I said it. In my mind, I was like, Nikki, say The Bachelor. The Bachelorette. Who is going to be the Bachelorette? It's probably going to be Tay Tay. Is she interesting enough, though? You guys love her, though. But just because you love her don't mean she's going to be the Bachelorette. Hello, Drake and Peter. I wanted it. Didn't happen. Who is interesting? Because she's so quiet. I think that's her only problem. Rachel was like in your face. And that's what you need, because it's not like you want somebody to be too much. But you don't want to cast somebody who you're going to have to pull, you know, personality out of. So right now, I'm not quite sure, but I'm ready. I like Colton, but I'm ready to get to the Bachelorette. I'm ready. Tay Tay or Skipper? No, I'm not. I don't really have no front runners. Who are your front runners? Let me know in the comment section for the Bachelorette. Who are your front runners for the Bachelorette? Let a sister know. Love you much. Bye.